All right, well, welcome to the video. This is for the students receiving this. This is a recap from some prior information with some pointers and interesting tips to help you. So the video is called The Formula of How to Keep the Pick in the Right Direction, heading in the right direction. So a few things that I want to point out. That's a much better view. We need the guitar, not me. A few things that I want to point out about the right hand in the pick have to do with how we lay the notes out in our left hand, and that's what this real video is about. So I'm going to do a few things here, one of which is show you a modal approach with 3 notes per string and what you'll need to do when using 3 notes per string to keep this pick aligned properly or headed in the right direction. So I guess the first thing I want to do is that, and then after that, I'm going to show you when you don't have 3 notes per string, some other options and things that you can do. But the real focus here is for you to take the time to learn these 3 note per string modal fingerings. We'll do this just in the major scale to keep it simple. And I think I'll do it in the key of F, I think. Yeah, let's do that. This way I have the whole fingerboard in front of me. So first, let's just take a look at the shapes themselves. So this has nothing to do with the right hand at this point. This is just laying it out for you. So what I mean by 3 notes per string is no matter what your fingering is, that's the whole thing. Now, there's going to be a turnaround at the top of each one of these. I'll get to that in a moment, but that's just your F major. So and there's a turnaround at the bottom that has a note that is not in the scale, but it's in flow. And again, this is not about being textbook correct. This is about your picking hand. And it's also, though, about how to make lines work out properly, your improvisational lines, and how to have things, say, cycle properly on the beat. So if I play this again, so with a metronome, that works out to the proper amount of measures. Let's not go that far. I guess I'll do it 8 notes. So that makes everything work out where it cycles properly within the 2 measures, or 3 measures, whatever that is. And my pick, which you'll see in the next screenshot after we finish all these, we'll go to the right hand. You'll notice that everything takes place properly. Okay, let's go to the next one. This is your G in this key, G Dorian. And so 3 notes per string. Let's stop the metronome until we have the shape down. So that's the shape, which is just the 2-octave scale, or the 2-octave modal fingering, right? Not a big deal. So I'm starting to employ some of the right hand stuff, which again, you can't see in your screenshot, but we'll get to it. So now I'm going to need that turnaround at the top of the scale, and I'm going to need that turnaround at the bottom of the scale to have it fit the correct amount of measures, if you want to look at it that way. But more importantly, to have the pick facing in the proper direction. Here we go. All right, let's move to the next one, which is Phrygian. And for this one, same thing. Let's get our 3 notes per string first. You can already, just with that, sorry, it's pretty effortless to do that. It's not a super brisk tempo, but it's pretty quick. Not any effort whatsoever. Again, we'll get to this. We'll visit this in the right-hand segment of the video, the picking segment of the video. Let's get to Lydian. 3 notes per string once again. B flat Lydian. Okay, let's get. Let's do the turnaround. I'm sorry. So my top turnaround contains 2 notes, and my bottom, right, has 4 notes. You'll notice that both of those are even numbers, the 2 and the 4. Very important. That's what we've done with each one of these. Every single one contained the same thing. When we played the Phrygian, we played the Dorian, 2 notes at the top, 4 notes at the bottom. Okay, let's go to Mixolydian. So this is, in this key, C Mixolydian. And these are starting from our first finger. There are other fingerings we can do this with. That's a story for another day. For right now, let's keep it simple and stay focused on this. C Mixolydian, 3 notes per string. You probably have already noticed that these are only occupying or taking up 5 of the strings, but that's okay because our turnaround employs the 6th string. So here we go. And it doesn't matter anyway. A scale does not have to occupy 6 strings. You can play this. I only occupied 4 strings, right? So that there's no rule as far as that part goes. And you are certainly welcome to experiment, along with the picking thing, how you lay these out. This is just sort of a playground to get you started to where all things are equal, right? Each mode only occupies 5 of the strings until the turnaround is employed. Each turnaround contains 2 notes on the top string and 4 notes on the bottom string, both of which are even numbers for the reason of our pick. And it just keeps the playing field equal all the way across. There's no open strings involved. These can be practiced in all 12 keys, obviously. They should become so pattern-based for your left hand, and also your right hand, that it should be effortless to move this to another key. So we just got done with Mixolydian. Let's get to the 6th degree of our scale, and that mode, of course, is Aeolian. So in this key, it's D Aeolian, 3 notes per string. No, let's try that again. Sorry. Mistakes are free. All right. Now for the turnaround. So all right, and we're up to our last mode, or the 7th mode within this key, within the scale. Remember, these are all the modes from the F major scale: F major, G Dorian, A Phrygian, B flat Lydian, C Mixolydian, D Aeolian, and we'll now be doing E Locrian. All right, so we ended here. We have 2 notes for a turnaround, which is going to start on the G. Take it from the bottom. and 4 notes at the bottom, right? 2 and 4, just like the rest of them. All right, that's the whole series. Let's go ahead and move to the right hand. So we'll shift the camera here. And the important part of what's happening here, let's see if that's sideways enough for you guys. Yeah, maybe that's better. The important part here is to take notice of what the pick does. But before we even get into that, there's something that I want to talk about regarding this. It's very difficult. This whole thing is designed so you can play faster, pick more accurately, have an, I guess you would maybe call it an aggressive sound. And that's the word that I want to discuss for a minute. I said an aggressive sound. One of the things that I want to point out is that's going to happen just because of the nature of your pick facing in the right direction. So that means you have to do your very best to stay completely relaxed. Do not practice these at a tempo where you're stiffening up already. You want this to be feather-like with your right hand. So let me play, I guess I'll just play one of the modes. Let's see, maybe we'll do Mixolydian. That move. You're probably not able to see it on camera, but I'm holding the pick so loosely that it's actually, how can I do that? It's actually wiggling around. Let's see, how can I do that for you? It's actually wiggling around in my grip. I don't have it so tight that there's no play whatsoever. That's exactly what you should be trying to avoid. This pick is traveling by way of inertia, right? The pull and push through the string to where there's no effort. So let's do, let's see, we'll do Dorian. So I have to get to that A up top and I got to pull back and come through, but keep it relaxed. Yes, that's faster, but I'm not employing any more, what would I say, strength or grip pressure to achieve that. And that's the most important thing that I want to point out here. That may be the best takeaway from this video, because this is something that should carry over into all of your playing. From decades and decades of teaching, many times I'll have some students that maybe have some right hand issues, not in a single note way, but like strumming or, playing funky figures, whatever it might be, that kind of stuff. And the biggest commonality that I find through all of these, young, old, male, female, et cetera, acoustic guitar, electric guitar, is that there's too much tension, too much tightening up to try to do that. So if you try to strum something sort of what you might call loose and goosey, if you try to strum something like that, you can see how rubber bandy my wrist is, right? Well, with the single note approach that we're speaking of in this video, it's not so much a wristy thing, but it's inside, whoops, let me go again. It's inside of here so that pick can literally move this way and move that way, right? Not by the turning of your hand, just by the lack of pressure. When something hits into it, it's going to move, right? If I have it death gripped and I try to push on it, I feel tension. If it's nice and loose, I can move the pick without turning my hand or without moving my fingers on my right hand. So again, this is super important. So let me just play a couple of portions just so I don't even know if you can see this. I mean, I wish I could get more of a close-up or magnified view of what's happening, but here's a turnaround. of pressure, the least amount of inertia. So all the way around the board, meaning through all the scales and all the modes, this is exactly what you'll have. And so I'm going to use Lydian, B flat Lydian. I know you can't see my left hand, but that's okay. Here we go. Okay, so one of the things I would recommend is to maybe try to play these. I'll go back to the metronome real quick here. Hope I can do it at this speed. I think I can. So one of the things metronome setting wise, right, is to be able to play, again, I'm going to do this in eighth notes instead of 16th. 16ths would be, it's not helping you in any way by me playing it fast. That's not exposing what I want to expose here. So I'm going to play eighth notes. That's one way you should practice it, right? But we should also employ the triplet. Right? That type of thing. Whoops. So the triplet and you'll add as many notes as you need to make it cycle on the beat. So we're going to come up one short if I just go straight to the root. So you'll need one more note there, which is all we added on the other one. So maybe now I'll add this note. I know you can't see my left hand, but the note which is right above the root. So we're playing B flat Lydian. I'm adding B natural. So this sound at the end of it. So here's our triplet. But you can add any note that you want. You can come from underneath and play the note A to return back to the B flat. Something that will make it cycle properly. But once again, the big takeaway here is, let's get the camera over here. The big takeaway here is getting the pick facing in the right direction and keeping it really relaxed. The relaxed part is so important. As soon as you tense up, it's going to be really hard to do that. And again, the pick at that point will not be able to travel within your fingers, within your fingers like that motion, that movement. It's not going to be able to do that if you have it death gripped, okay? So I know I've repeated that several times within here, but I can't stress the importance of that enough. All right, let's, I said I would also talk about scale fingerings, for example, or scales, however you want to look at it, that don't necessarily have 3 notes per string, because you are going to encounter that not just in scale practice or playing or training, but you're going to encounter it in your regular playing, your regular performance, your improvisation, lines that you play from within a tune. So there's 2 sides to this coin. The one side is we'll take it very simple right now, where we have some scale fingerings that do not contain 3 notes per string. And the first one that I'm going to do is, let's see if we can turn this way. The first one that I'll do, I'm going to use E flat major. So let's just figure out what's going on here. We've got 2 notes. This is starting on the 5th string, by the way. 2 notes, followed by 3, by 3, by 3, by 4. But we're not going to do it that way. We're going to have a turnaround just like we did with the others. So you end up with and that gives us the right amount of pick strokes. Everything faces the right way. It's exactly how it should be, okay? In terms of training your right hand and getting this muscle memory and keeping relaxed and being able to pick each note and have the pick headed in the proper direction, right? If you put all those things together, this is kind of what you're going to be relegated to end up having to do. If you want no tension in your picking hand and you want to be able to play, I hate to say it this way, but you want to be able to play fast and clean and have it having a, you know, assertive sort of thing, not where you're playing pull-offs. It's a certain sound, but that's not, it's not the same. This does not sound like, sounds different. So keeping all that in mind, that's your only option. With all that said, let's take a look at what's happening. So because it starts with 2 notes on the string, not 3, I'm going to begin with an upstroke. So in my right hand, see if I can get positioned better here for you. In my right hand, it's, well, why would you do that? That's so that up, down, down, I can push right through. And that continues on because then I have 3 notes per string, right? So I'm just trying to set up the even number against the odd numbers so the pick faces in the right direction. So that, no tension whatsoever. That's reasonably fast. So that's C. I keep going to that part, running over it, because that C needs to be an upstroke. So something else that's going on that might not be visible to you. My C upstroke and all the rest of the strokes are anchored, also known as rest strokes. So I'm never disconnected, if that makes any sense. I'm never disconnected from the feeling of my pick being against a string. If I'm coming this way, right, I feel by the time I play the last note on the prior string, I can already feel my pick against the adjacent string that I'm about to play. And if I'm heading in the other direction, once I leave, let's say, leave the D string and go to the G string, before I've even played, by the time I've played the last note on the D string, my pick is already there waiting for me. It's already resting on the string with the proper pick stroke facing in the proper direction. So in order to do this, it's important to lay out. I just showed you where there's 2 notes on a string. We're going to take a scale finger in a minute where there's 1 note on a string. But my point is, it's important to be very careful how you lay out your fingerings, right? The architecture, if you will, that you build around how you navigate the neck. That's what makes this work. So, if you look at so many books, I'm laughing because I've owned so many of the books and I've seen so many of the books, and many of you might know I started playing guitar in 1969 and was already into books at that point. There was no tablature available or internet, obviously, or anything like that. So all you had was books. And, everybody's an expert. Anybody can write a book. But none of this stuff was taken into consideration. It was, you play all alternate strokes, and that doesn't matter if there's an even number of notes on the string or an odd number of notes on the string. And I think we all know at this point that just doesn't work. You can get so far, but you can't get any farther. It doesn't work. It's not going to work. Physics are never going to change. It's not going to work. It's not going to fly. So we have to have some kind of way we can set it up where both sides meet each other and everything works out properly. So let's go ahead and take a look at a scale fingering that starts with 1 note on the lowest string instead of 2 or 3, right? So again, if you're halfway decent at math, 1 is an odd number, just like 3 was. So when we played initially at the beginning of the video, where we played all the modes with 3 notes per string, we started with a downstroke. That's so we could push through, right? Okay. So that's an odd number. So when we have an odd number like 1 on a string, and I'll use, since this is in the frame, I'm just going to kind of in the frame. I'm going to use E major. It's just the E major scale, but the fingering looks like this. So I have a turnaround. Let's get the fingering first. Downstroke. If I start with an up, I have to already skip over the string. And then I'm finally facing in the right direction. This way. Now I'm going to skip over E flat, even though it's part of the scale, and I'm going to go to E so that I have 3 notes, because it turns my pick around. I have 3 notes on that top string. Once again. I want to be heading down when I'm going this way. So I added E flat. I shouldn't say added it. I skipped over the root, just like I did at the top. I did it at the bottom to create the proper number so the pick is facing in the right direction. Let me stop talking and do that for you. Now, one of the times I did it, I actually added the F as a chromatic note coming into the E. If you don't like the sound of that, just do what I did. If you prefer the scale tones, use those. But you can also go. Either one of those are fine. But you're going to, hopefully, by the time you spend, I shouldn't say by the time, after spending some time with this, you're going to recognize the feeling of that pick facing in the right direction, and you're just not going to be able to tolerate when it isn't. Because when you realize how effortless it is to do this, when you lay it out properly, anything less than that is just not fun. It's not, it doesn't feel right. It takes too much effort. It's inaccurate. Not to mention the fact that if you kind of, again, going back to all these crazy books from millions of years ago and probably even recently, all that pedagogy never kind of takes this into consideration. I shouldn't say all of it. Few books, if any, take this into consideration. And so that means that your picking is never standardized. Every fingering has a different picking pattern. That sounds like just insanity, right? It's hard enough with the left hand part alone. And then you have to filter in the right hand being different all the time. It's just a recipe for disaster. So look, as a disclaimer, sort of, I don't want anyone to think that sees this video that you have to pick every note. Hammer-ons and pull-offs are a form of expression, and they should be used as well. But when you're not looking for that sound, or you're not trying to do that, this is your option. Organize your picking. Get it together, just how you had to get together your left hand for scale fingerings and pentatonics and chord shapes, whatever it might be. You didn't just do it haphazardly. Somebody said to you, look, this is the grip for an A7. You didn't try to go like this with fingers in a different, you standardized it. Every time you grabbed A7, that's what it looked like. That's what it felt like. The same fingers were used. You standardized what happened in your left hand. This is just standardizing what's happening in your right hand. So I hope this video is super helpful. I'm going to show you just one more thing that really doesn't have to do with a scale fingering or a scale per se, but more with a line. So let me see. Let me try to give you a good example here. Let me see. Let me think of a better one than that. Sorry, I didn't really plan this part of it. But what I'm trying to do here is, let's do this line. That works out okay. Yeah, let's do that. So this line, this would be good if we can get both in the shot. Let's see how we go. It's a line from a Chick Corea tune. That matters not. What matters is, in order to pull that line off, I have it across 3 strings. Well, could I do this? Sorry. Yes, I could. But if you notice, this one, when I change strings, the pick is facing in the right direction. When I do it the other way, which is this way, now I'm on a downstroke, so I need an upstroke, and I have to come around the string to get to that. So this is an example of how you lay it out makes a world of difference. Here's one more way to lay it out that is the most comfortable for me, and that's, see if I can do it. Yeah, so I ended up shifting, and I'm accomplishing the pick facing in the right direction. So that's the last thing in closing. It's a pretty long video, but it's worthwhile to pay close attention to everything that's going on here. I feel really good about the information, that it's worthwhile to take the time to really pay attention to this, and you will be very surprised how quickly, again, it's not a race, but you'll be surprised how quickly a phrase or a passage that maybe you struggled with in the past, when you learn to lay things out like this and make these things match up, how much less maybe you have to practice to get it up to tempo, to bring it up to speed. Again, it's not a race, but look, there are tempos, right? Tempos are a real thing. So if you're struggling with a line, if you're struggling with something that you've been practicing for the longest time and you just can't seem to get any better at it, it's reasonable to say, and rather likely, that there's a better way to lay it out on your fingerboard that will help you with this aspect of it. So that's it for now. Enjoy the challenge, and I hope this video helps.